In today's video, we will be showing you how to make some fat feeders for your birds. It helps them survive the winter and it's pretty cool to watch.
Hey everybody, it's Frankie-Lou.
And Angus.
And we're coming to you today from the kitchen in the Grow To Gather Homestead.
Yep.
Where we're cooking for the birds.
Yes.
And not our chickens, the
Yep.
wild birds.
Yep.
Yeah, because we're expecting a real big change in the weather tonight. It's been pretty mild.
Tomorrow it's gonna be super cold.
Yeah, the super cold weather is back. So,
Yep, isn't that great?
well, it isn't so great, but one of the things we like to do is help our wild birds when the cold weather comes by providing them with our homemade lard cakes.
Yes.
Now, a lot of people think you can only use suet. Suet comes from specific organs in the beef that it's like right next to, I believe it's the liver and the kidneys.
Yeah.
And it's great, but it's pretty crumbly and it's hard to get a hold of.
And also the magpies, because it's so hard, the magpies can just steal the whole thing.
That's right. We actually, a lot of people say, well, when you use lard cakes, aren't they soft? For our purposes, that's a good thing because, as Angus said, those magpies will take the whole cake and run off with it. Whereas,
or fly off.
Yeah, or fly off with it. Whereas the lard isn't quite as easy to take away. It stays solid enough to sort of stick there, but it's not going to be able to be ripped away the way the magpies will. But you can still actually go complete DIY on this and actually get your own pork or beef fat. What you do is when you are cooking like a pork shoulder or beef shoulder, and that fat that sticks down in the bottom of your pot, you melt it. I've got some here.
And then this is just a sifter. Well, a sieve lined with a paper towel.
Yeah, or you could use a coffee filter, and you pour that through, and you let that go through. So you take out any of the meat solids or any of the bits that aren't supposed to be there. So I've got some of my fat dripping here into here. It's getting strained out. In the meantime, I don't have enough pork fat from the pork shoulder, so I have bought lard, good old lard. Now, there's a few things that are really important to remember when you're doing this, because birds' digestions
are a lot different from ours.
Yes. So I know a lot of people want to use Crisco. They want to use vegetable shortening.
No, it has to be actually made from
animal fat, right?
And entirely from animal fat.
Yeah, because the bird, for some reason, I don't understand it, but birds do have a harder time digesting vegetable shortening. So we get good old pork lard. We're going to eyeball this, and we're also going to make quite a bit of it. This isn't a recipe per se as a technique, okay? Yeah. But we want to make a lot. And we're going to make a few different kinds, okay? I'm going to use about a cup of lard. And there's probably about another quarter cup there that's going to come through. I'll let that finish sitting. Okay? Now the other mixings that you can use. Another thing that's really important that you get right
is the peanut butter.
Yeah, you don't have to add peanut butter to your...
But we like to because they like it.
Yeah, we find that when we started putting peanut butter into our little lard cakes, boy oh boy, it made a big difference. Once again, really important, you don't just get any standard peanut butter you have in your closet, because your pantry
closet
because there are a lot of the peanut butters that have fillers and different sweeteners in it and different oils in it that aren't very digestible, particularly the low-fat variety. The stuff that some people think is good for them
it isn't. But
it can actually kill birds. Okay.
Yeah, xylitol.
Xylitol is not a good idea to be giving to, and your dog too. Don't give any of that peanut butter to your dog. So we just get the stuff that says just peanuts. What we're gonna do is we're gonna use about half as much. So I'm gonna put about half a cup of peanut butter into here. The other things that we're using, standard wild bird seed, okay? Yes. We have chickens, so we also have cracked corn. We're gonna mix some of that in. We've got some dried pumpkin seeds here. They like that. They also like dried sunflower seeds. Now, if you haven't watched our harvesting rose hips video, I've got some dried rose hips left from that. Our birds love this. It's a natural thing that we have around here, and boy do they ever like it, especially the flickers. They go crazy for this.
Yeah, so we just dried these out on top of
we
our
have
fridge.
yeah, we have some extra ones from when we were harvesting our rose hips, and we're putting that in.
Almost,
Some nice fat. I've got my lard. Okay, I'm gonna put that in there. You can start mixing that up, Angus. Oh, I'll get another spatula.
I get to mix up fats.
We're going to mix, I'm gonna eyeball this. I know I need about a half a cup, but I'm really gonna eyeball it. Basically what you're looking for is half the fat you've got in there already. It adds a lot of flavor. I think the birds can smell it more, and they come a-flocking to it. So we've got all our fats mixed up really nicely, evenly and consistently.
Yep, they sort of look...
Well, it looks like that. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Now, while we're at it here, and we're starting to mix all these things in, the reason this is good is because it really, really does help the birds handle the cold weather. Once the warm weather comes, don't put the lard out, particularly as young nesting birds, like young little chicks and stuff, can't digest this fat as easily. So you really only want to have these suet.
This is just a winter.
It's a winter treat, yep. And so, and for two reasons too. You also don't want it to go rancid. So we know that when we keep these in the freezer until it's time to put them outside. And basically it's a freezer out there. So we know it's not going to go rancid. But once the warm weather returns, these can go bad. And you don't want to be feeding the birds rotten stuff. So that is why this is strictly a cold weather treat.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put the extra special fixings in first because that's what they like the most. So I'm going to put the rose hips in and the pumpkin seeds and the cracked corn. Going to mix that up. Now also, if you have other dried fruits you want to put in there, we put our rose hips in, but you could put craisins in here as long as they like dried cranberries. Just make sure that whatever you do put in isn't too big, right? Because you want,
also they can eat.
and then it's not salted, right?
Oh, yeah.
And raw is obviously the better choice. So now I'm going to put in, basically I usually end up putting about twice as much of the mixings as I do the fat. And the fat is kind of what just holding it all together. But the fat is good for them. Let's try that first, see if we got enough. Now we're gonna put these into different containers. Angus wanted to try these silicone things because he wants to hang it. But I also like to use, I basically like to use plastic for this.
Yep, we used to get normal suet from the hardware store.
So
Don't know why it's there, but.
So we save those. And also just these containers. I find that when we pop them in the freezer, it's a lot easier to get it out than out of metal. Like I know that you can use things like tin cans and tuna cans, but sometimes it's hard to pop them out of that. Oh yeah. So we know we have one good solid one.
Well,
and you're just gonna
like use a spatula to press it in.
Yep, you're just gonna press it in. Don't worry, you're freezing this, and it's gonna come out
much
easier once it's frozen. Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about it getting stuck.
It's going to be messy, right? But once it does freeze up, it gets a lot more solid.
Yep.
Okay.
Then
so we got a nice one there.
Some of these?
Yeah. And then we'll pop some of that in there. Okay. Do you want to push it in there, Angus?
Sure.
Okay, I'm just going to pop those in. The silicone is nice. I find it's really easy to get stuff out of the silicone. I'm going to press this because they are so deep.
Yeah,
so
you need a spoon.
You need a spoon to really press it in well. I'm gonna finish just this one off here. Don't! We're gonna put that in the freezer.
By the way, I was joking. I would never do that.
In an hour or two, these are gonna be really nice and hard, and we can put them back outside. So I think we should take the dog for a walk, Angus, and come back and show you how these look when they're all done. Okay, we'll see you soon.
Bye.
It's the next day. It's very cold. Well, it's super sunny here, which is one of the things that is great about Alberta. It's always sunny. It's cold, so we're going to put out our stuff. We're going to hurry because we're cold, and I don't know if you can hear it, but there are magpies, blue jays, and chickadees who know what we're doing. They know we're about to feed them, and they just can't wait for us to get all this stuff out.
So this is my homemade platform feeder.
Yeah.
This is like a cage thing that you can slide suet under, or in our case, our homemade fat cakes. And you can also sprinkle birdseed on top.
Yeah. And the reason why it's great is because it sits on this platform where we can view from a window, which obviously is one of the reasons we do enjoy watching them so much. And this tree here gives them the added sense of security. They can jump on and off, grab little bits, go into the tree, and we'll often have like 20 birds here doing that, which wouldn't normally hang out together. But because it's right next to this big tree where they feel comfortable, they do it. Okay, so did you see how easily that came out? That's why we love these plastic containers, because you just pop it out, it's frozen solid. We love these silicone molds. We use them for making soap, we use them for freezing our eggs, and it's great for stuff like this because you basically can just pop stuff right out. Okay?
Yeah, and I'll put that
Angus is going to put that up in our wreath feeder there. Did it fit it? Oh, it fits perfectly in one of the squares. So we're going to leave that. We'll try to show you some footage of the birds enjoying it, and we'll be back in a sec. The flickers seem to really love our homemade suet cakes, and we can usually catch them at it quite a bit. First thing in the morning, the last thing at night, right, for Angus?
Yep.
So the jays are here to try it out. This one's being a little shy. Here they go. Okay, so we hope you'll try this. As you can see, the birds really do love it, and we like doing it for them. Remember to only do it during the cold season, okay?
Yes.
And yeah, if you're interested in any of the other things we're doing around here, we're putting a couple videos out a week, so let us know if you have any questions, write it in the comments, and subscribe if you're interested in more.
Yep. And like we always say, make sure you take today's time to grow together.
Have a great one.